Mesh components. The section contains information on components for working with meshes. And here we have the mesh render component, a skin mesh render component, mesh filter component, and finally the text mesh component. So we are gonna see the first one. And here we have the mesh render component. A mesh render component renders a mesh. It works with a mesh filter component on the same game object. The mesh renderer renders the mesh that the mesh filter references. To render a deformable mesh, use a skin mesh render instead, so we can check out this. And this is pretty much inside of the graphics meshes. Okay. In C# code, the mesh renderer class represents a mesh renderer component. The mesh renderer class inherits much of its functionality from the render class. As such, this component has a lot in common with other components that inherit from the renderer, such as line renderer and the trail renderer. Mesh render inspector reference. And if we go here to the software, let's see if we go to the car_root. And here let me see if I have some meshes here. Let me see if we go inside. We have the cube. For example, here we have this cube mesh, so we have the mesh renderer. Okay, and here we have the materials, the lighting, the props, additional settings. So this is inside of the cube, so pretty much inside of this one. And if we go to the wheels, we have nothing here. We go to the capsule, so this object here, we are gonna have the mesh renderer with the materials, the lighting, the props, additional settings. So we're gonna see this one here. And yeah, pretty much we are seeing it on the inspector to the right, so you can make this one bigger if you want, move it around. Okay, so here we have again the materials, the lighting, and the light mapping, the props, and finally additional settings. So let me see if we have the light mapping. We have the light here. We don't have the light mapping in this one, but maybe in other edition maybe we have it. So this is the Unity 2022.3. okay, so we have that. Okay, so this is pretty much the mesh render inspector reference. As you can see here, we have the blend pros per object. Okay, and again here the mesh render component as it appears in the inspector window with receive global illumination set to light props. So we have the material, the lighting, the light mapping, the props, and additional settings. And materials is set to 1. So let me check out here. Materials again is set to 1 here. We go inside, we only have, we have 0, and pretty much we have this default material. Okay, but we have some, we can maybe change it around, and then we can play here with some shaded, so the wireframe, the shaded frame. Okay, and pretty much, let me see, pretty much this is what we have here. Okay, so let me see, let's play this game again. And okay, so right now the cube is moving. Let's pretty much play with the cube. So it was here, and now we are gonna go into the element here, and we are gonna have maybe this one here, or maybe let me see how it will look. No, I cannot see it, so maybe we can have maybe we can have this one. Okay, so we have that, and let's save it. So we're gonna save it now. And what else, so let's go back to the cube again. And okay, so we are inside of the materials, the element. So let's just leave it like that. So let's play it. Let me see if I can make this one big. So let me see if I can go here or maximize. Yeah, this one is gonna be fine. So, and let's just click it. So okay, so pretty much we can move the cube. So pretty much we are moving it around, and the capsule is following. So these two are pretty much connected. So let me see if we don't collide with it, or they don't. Oops, yeah, they collided with each other. Yeah, that's kind of like a cool. So if we play it again, okay, so we can, I can move it around. Oops. I can move it around with the home, page up, page down, and in my keyboard. So we have that. Let me see. Okay, so that's, oops. Yeah, okay, but the cube is still moving. Let me see. Can I yeah, I can do it maybe. Okay, nah, I don't think that's gonna be enough, so let me see. Yeah, it's not gonna move, so pretty much this time it went down for real. Okay, let's just unclick it and let's go into the layout and set it to default so everything is back to normal. Okay, let's continue playing around here. So we have the materials section. So again, so we have the material section lists all the materials that this component using. So we have the size, the element. Okay, so let me see size and elements. So materials, okay, elements. So we can maybe, oops, I have another element here, and let's put it, oops, yeah, we can just leave it like that for now, and let's just take it out. Okay, so you can add more elements, so just taking it out. And here we're gonna have the size in the element. So the size pretty much the number of elements in the material list. If you decrease the number of elements, Unity deletes the elements at the end of the list. So that's that. So we have the element, the materials in the list. You can assign a material asset to each element. By default, Unity orders the list alphabetically based on the name of the materials. This list is reorderable, and Unity updates the numbers of the elements automatically as you change their order. Okay, so we can see the lightning. So we can go here in lightning, and let's play around. Yeah, let's play around with this one. So the lightning is on. Yeah, we have the cast shadows. Specify if and how this renderer casts shadows when a suitable light shines on it. So we have that. We have the on and off. The on, this render casts a shadow when a shadow casting light shines on it. So we have the off, this renderer does not cast shadows. So let's check it out. So right now it's on, so let's see, we can just take it off. Let me see if this has changed a little bit. Okay, so it's in the cast shadow off, so we don't have pretty much no shadowing. So let's pretty much unclick it or just play, and then let's put it on. And now let me see, we can, okay, we can play here, and pretty much nothing is changing so far. Oops, okay, I can see something. Okay, so we have that two-sided. Let me see if I have it. Lighting, cast shadows, contribute, light props. Okay, so we have that, and that is receive shadows. So let me see, receive shadows. Yeah, we have the receive shadows, and it has a check mark on it. So specify if Unity displays shadows cast onto this renderer. This property only has effect if you enable bake global illumination or align real-time global illumination for the scene. This property corresponds to the render that receives the receive shadows API. Okay, let me see what else do we have. So we have the contribute, I cannot read the whole thing. Okay, contribute global illumination. So let's click it just for fun, and let me see. Yeah, let me see, let me contribute. Okay, let me put it off, and pretty much nothing is changing so far. Let me see if I put this one on. Okay, so light maps, light props. Okay, so contribute global illumination. includes render and global illumination calculations which take place at bake time. This property only has an effect if you enable bake global illumination or enlightening real-time global illumination for the scene. Enabling this property enables the contribute GI flag on the game's object static editor flags. It corresponds to the static editor flags that contribute GI API. Receive global illumination. So it's gonna be receive global illumination. That's that one. Okay, so again we have the light maps, the light probes. So light maps. So let me see. Light probes and light maps. Okay. Unity provides global illumination data to the renderer from light maps. So we have the light probes. Unity provides global illumination data to this renderer from light probes in the scene. Now we have the light mapping. In this particular example, we don't have the light mapping. So let me see if we can go into the car here. No, we don't have it here. Maybe the plane. Lightning, no, we don't have it here. Light probes, okay, so we don't have it so far. Okay, but the light mapping section contains properties relating to bake and real-time light maps. The section is visible only if receive global illumination is set to light maps. Okay, so let me see. Receive global illumination. So receive global. Okay, so I cannot deal with that. So let me see in cube. Receive global illumination is set to light maps. Okay, that's good. And this one is on. Okay, that's good so far. Game simulator. Okay, so this will be how you see in your app, in your telephone. Free aspect scale. Okay, that's fine. Gizmos. Oops. Yeah, we can have some gizmos maybe. Okay, so let me see. Okay, let me see. Let's go back. Yeah, this kind of like that'll be kind of like a cool game to do something with this. Oops. Yeah, I think we lost contact. I just unclick it. Okay, so we have that scale in light map. So specify the relative size of the renderer's UVs within a light map. We have stitch seams, we have the light map parameters, optimize real-time UVs, max distance, max angle, ignore normals, mean chart size. Okay, then we have the when you bake your lighting data, we have the menu, rendering lighting, generate lighting. So let me see, window rendering. So window rendering light. We have lightning, and let me see, it was window rendering lighting and then generate lighting. So lightning, so we don't have it here so far. Let me see, so we go window, then we go to rendering lighting occlusion. Okay, so window rendering lighting, generate lighting, so we don't have it here, but okay, rendering lighting or just control 9, and then here we have lighting settings, and this one, let me see, the generate lighting, I cannot see it so far. Environmental, real, maybe in the baking lights. So we have lighting data assets, so we have now. Okay, that's fine so far. Here we have generate lighting. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so we have the baked light map, the real-time light map, example of light maps that appears in your scene after baking. Now we have the props. The props section contains properties relating to light prop and reflection props. So we have the light props set how this renderer receives light from the light prop system. This property corresponds to the renderer.lightprop usage API. So we have the off, the blend props, use proxy volume, custom provided, the proxy volume override. Okay, then we have the reflection props. And what is this? Let me see something real quick. So I need to go into my armory crate. Okay, we can just leave it like that. Okay, and it was the prop. So let's see, we have the prop. So right now I can go here to the scene, and the props right now I have off. Reflection props, we can just leave them off maybe, or we can just leave it the blend props and skybox, so global illumination. Okay, so it's modifying it now. Let's check out if something has changed. Okay, so maximize it. So let me see, I'm gonna go backwards, and yeah, it's starting to look kind of nice. Let's move it around. Okay, so let's hope that it doesn't collide, but it did. Okay, and I cannot move right now, so I'm stuck here. That's a good thing. Okay, so now let's put it to default, so it's gonna be default like that. And again, we have the light prop, set how this render receives light from the light prop system. This property corresponds to the render.lightprops usage API. And we have some additional settings. The additional settings section contains additional properties, so they're talking about the additional. Let me see, we are we are inside of the, let me see, inside of the plane. Okay, so we are inside of the plane, and now we are inside of additional settings. In an additional settings, we have motion vectors and dynamic occlusion. Motion vectors, we have per object motion, we have the camera motion only, per object motion, and force no motion. Okay, so let's check it out. Again, we have the motion vectors. Set whether to use motion vectors to track this renders per pixel screen space motion from one frame to the next. You can use this information to apply post-processing effects such as motion blur. Note, not all platforms support motion vectors, and you can check out this. See the system info that supports motion vectors for more information. This property corresponds to the render.motion vector generation mode API. We have the camera motion only. Use only camera movement to track motion per object motion. Use a specific path to track motion for this renderer. Force no motion. Do not track motion. We have the dynamic occlusion. So when dynamic occlusion is enabled, let me see inside of the car, and we are gonna go into the cube, and we are gonna go into the per object motion dynamic occlusion. Let's unclick it. So let's see what happens if we unclick it. So when the dynamic occlusion is enabled, Unity's occlusion cooling system cools the renderer when it's blocked from the camera's view by a static occluder. So let's give it a try, what's going on here. So I have unchecked it, or yeah, I have unchecked it, and let me see how it's moving around. So there's not much change so far, and yeah, it's starting to look kind of like cool, kind of like a ETV vehicle. Man, that would be cool. Yeah. Okay, let me see, I don't think we're gonna collide, but I mean, that's pretty cool so far. Okay, so let's just keep it like that. Otherwise, the system does not cool this renderer when it's blocked from the camera's view by a static occluder. Dynamic occlusion is enabled by default. Disable it for effects such as drawing the outline of the character behind a wall. And yeah, pretty much this is all that we have for the mesh renderer component. So